That is our food.
All right. So I think.
Check OBS really quick.
Yeah.
Is it
All
working?
right. So now.
Okay.
Now you can hear us.
Wow. I actually talk pretty slowly, dude. If I
So
barely move the meter
there we
on
go.
that sound thing.
Our
that's really
food's just getting here. We're just starting the stream, so a lot of things are in motion.
He says we're just starting the stream, but we've been talking blankly into a non-microphone for 3 minutes.
I think we've said we've started the stream like 7 times.
All right. They haven't heard that because the microphone's been dead.
It
But
was all
we're back.
trash.
All right. So we're gonna say our names really quick because just for
You gotta recognize our
remember
voices.
us. But I'm also leaving for 2 weeks, so it'll be easier to recognize these two's names or voices for a bit. So I'm Zach.
I'm Parshav.
I'm Sabian, and our food is here. I'll be right back.
All right, go grab it quick. You got any cool topics to talk about, or
Not really. So fountain pens.
fountain pens are pretty cool?
Dude. My teachers were really strict on good handwriting, okay? By default.
Oh,
Alright, so let me tell you
see,
something
I have
fun.
bad
I'll
handwriting.
tell you
That
something.
one.
No, I have shit handwriting. Let me tell you something funny.
We're together in that.
Yeah, is that like I don't know which grade it was. Maybe it might have been like 4th or 5th.
Mhm.
But there was one grade where they were like, all right, now you guys can start writing with pens. Up until now, you only can write with pencils. I don't know why that was the thing, but that was the thing. Okay, so it
Mhm.
felt good, like when you hit like 5th grade or something, right?
Wow.
So you hit 5th grade, and then now you're allowed to write with pens, but you can't write with ball pens. Ballpoint pens, people were like, so ballpoint pen, you know, like those purplish ones.
Yeah.
They're like, nah, dude, I got slapped by teachers for writing. I got slapped because like they're like, no, you can't write with ballpoint pen.
What are you doing?
And then one of my classes, it was like literally a Sanskrit class of all classes, a third language that I'm not good at. Yeah, they're like, oh, you have to use a freaking fountain pen for this one, like this kind of pen, right? That it's like it's not expensive, but it's like you have to maintain ink, you have to like maintain proper like cartridges in your ink pen. We literally call it ink pens, right? That's the thing. It was insane.
What's up?
Wait, is this?
He left the door closed. He got locked out of the apartment.
I'm disappointed, man.
Oh, sorry to interrupt.
It's okay, dude. We do anything for the food, pretty much. What do we use for the
Oh
food?
no, I accidentally send in the chat. I was gonna say, Omar, can you hear us?
What'd you
But
say?
I was opening the door for Sabian, so I accidentally pressed send.
Wow.
What? I'm sorry. I'm gonna give up on the chat. All right.
Omar's disappointed.
So let's just go into active projects now. Sabian's grabbing the food. So
I'm ready, man.
I'm ready. Here we go. We're on stream. All right, cool. So for the active projects, is he still locked out? 1 second. I need her to deal with this. I'm gonna.
Oh, okay.
So for SwiftUI Kit, I'm recently documenting it. I'm working on, adding lots of documentation so that anyone can really kind of just look at the documentation and understand it. Other than that, that's kind of affecting OneLeaf Go. OneLeaf Go OL Go is really waiting for the website to kind of catch up for at least the API calls for what it's doing, so we can have that equal kind of on each side.
Gotta have the
of
front end
iOS and,
test it.
Yeah, the front end of the actual server. So that's been on hold, but other than that, yeah, it's still at the same point of it has social and update social and posts pretty much. So the website. Oh, what's the
progress?
Yeah, progress on the website right now.
Posts is finally fixed. I gotta update like the styling of it whenever Susie finishes the designs, but like functionality's done, which is exciting. Social was started. I need to add like an edit button or something, but I don't know where the design for that is. So gotta wait for the designs to be finished. So next I'll probably work on. I started Meet the Team. Also styling issues there. So next there was, without having the designs up, I don't remember, but the pages are all almost done.
Yeah.
The hard part, once all the pages are done, will be searching, which will be a lot of like back end computation, figuring out how we want to serve things up.
Yeah, so that'll be on the API of right now everything is kind of searched, or that stuff like it's cached because you just retrieve all of it, or specific things of you get it by an ID, so you can only get all the post or an ID of a specific post or that post, whatever. But the API will have to have quite a bit of updates after we have some filter or searching or sorts or anything like that. So that'll be a later topic. Really, it's kind of just making sure all the API endpoints are warm as per se of being used or by any client, so we have some data coming in and at least bind to some object in what code. But moving on, I guess Bunny Hop.
I'm coming. Sorry.
I know, bro.
Portals are working. I'm like super pumped. There's some bugs with it, but like you can see through the portals, and as you move, the camera reflects that. That's been the hardest thing I've had to do so far. It looks like Shikuma or Max may be hopping onto the project to help make some levels. Thank God, because I'm awful at level design. And then Saga's been taking a peek at what we've been doing so far and has submitted some issues and whatnot and done some testing.
Damn,
so look for a release by the end of next week with all the updates. All of the bugs that have been given feedback upon have been fixed.
Nice.
So we are trucking along.
Sweet. That's awesome. All right, cool. So I think that's all for active projects. Do we have any in the
In the pipeline?
Any Android? Anything? Any update for Android? Quick.
I actually have not worked on the Android app as much this week, but considering we have proper curl documentation now, because I saw the issues.
See, I thought he'd be happy because I tagged him.
Honestly, I had a tear roll down my eye
Oh,
after this without laughing. I was like, dude, this guy knows how to write documentation or generator rather.
There you go. There you go.
But,
there you go.
Yeah, it'll happen.
All right. So now we'll just go to the direction channel.
So
And a reminder really quick that if you want an active project to post it in proposal, and we'll give you a channel. Really, it's for any project that you have laid out for other people to work on openly. And yeah, if you need help, feel free to message any of the community managers privately, and we'll work with you to get tickets and kind of get that lined up for people to work on.
And if you need work to do, that's the perfect place to look. Well, I guess active projects, but...
So, Omar has a question.
Okay, so Omar has a question. What language is used in making websites, and how much time would it take to learn it? So, that's a somewhat ambiguous question.
So yeah, we can talk about. There's 2 points to a website, and it's front end and back end. And the front end will always use HTML, CSS, and JavaScript,
or some layer upon those.
Yes.
HTML and CSS are about the easiest languages you could possibly learn ever.
They are just kind of structure or styles, and that is HTML or CSS, respectively.
Yep, and if I had to give a number to it to be able to write HTML like effectively, I wouldn't imagine like it would take you any longer than like watching like 3 or 4 hours of YouTube videos. I can't imagine it would take much longer.
It's really just understanding what elements you have. Like an HTML element has like a head, body, I think like a footer. I'm not up to date with like the latest, but then it has divs which aren't up to date. This is confusing. But then yeah, you just have like paragraph, which is just text, or headers, and a button or kind of a link.
Yep.
And just other things like that, like an image. So that's what you use on the front end and what visually you see. But there's data sent back and forth between the front end and the server, and the server can really use any language.
Any language that can open a server that runs on some specific port.
Yeah.
So common languages that you'll see enterprise-wide, like as in large-scale projects, would be Java, C#, and JavaScript.
PHP.
PHP is, also very common. I think it's kind of dying, though, in my opinion.
Well, you guys are saying, like, kind of monolithic servers. There's also...
I said for enterprise.
Yeah, but there's also, for a lot of enterprises, there's serverless or Lambdas, too, which go more functional approach, which then just expanded to any functional language, like JavaScript's huge, Python, Ruby. So, like, it's really any language. And even the up-and-coming languages, I mean, I know Swift, Rust, Swift. V even has quite a bit of different web ones. It's really any time that you can get a web hook, or not a web hook, but like HTTP request.
Yeah,
or
just about any language should include a server client architecture in their core library.
I'd be concerned.
I'd be concerned if they didn't. What they rely on is for other people to make frameworks on top of said infrastructure.
I mean, you pretty much just
So, if I had to assign a number to learn either one, that really depends on your specific learning speed. If you wanted to just make stuff appear pretty on a page for HTML and CSS, you're looking at a couple hours. If you really wanted to make some quality functionality in JavaScript, 10 to 20 hours. But if you really want to know JavaScript, just like any other language, it's going to take hundreds of hours, lots of practice, lots of side projects, lots of examples for you to understand why you do things in one way versus the other.
Mm-hmm. And just because you know one language a ton and you know like a huge amount of that doesn't mean you can transfer to another one. Like it will make sense of the architecture of the frameworks and other things like that, but it might not make sense per like specific language how to do something, because you just might have to do it different in that other language.
For example, if you switch from Java to C#, the 95% of it's going to transfer over. But if you transfer from Java to JavaScript, it's two different worlds.
Yeah.
So to follow up, he asked the question, what does the OneLeif website use in terms of frameworks and languages? For the back end and front end right now, we're using Swift, which is Apple's open source language.
Yeah, so specifically, yes, back end alone uses Swift.
The web framework Vapor.
The back end has a direct front end that is in Leaf templating HTML and CSS. So that is just HTML and CSS right now, and we used Leaf templating as a layer above it to structure it and just kind of like, loop over kind of children or leafs that we have.
It allows you to pass the data in.
Yeah.
Which it's like very...
It's just a layer
JavaScript.
above.
That's basically what it is.
Yeah, it's not reactive, but it lets us handle data coming in from the server. Other than that,
the nice part is
we have a React.
Yeah.
Sorry, we have a React server, and also we have an iOS, and then Android if you count those as front end. But yeah, we can have any type of front end. So we have React right now.
The nice part is, for those of you that are unaware, on a back end, you literally are just running on some IP address and some port. It doesn't matter what front end application you're building. It could be an iOS app, an Android app, or a website. As long as you have that IP address and port, you can connect to that server and get the data that you need to make your front end. All your front end needs to do is make it look pretty. So ours currently, as Zach said, is either built into our back end right now in Vapor, or a React front end, which won the poll that we did in voting, I believe. All right, next topic.
So we were gonna go through direction channel. Looks like
active project ranks and
yep.
tag.
We got multi-language, and then active project ranks /tag. So
we haven't talked about this at all.
And I don't think we did. It was just kind of something I had. I have a few projects, and I don't know really who's interested in it, other than who's interested in iOS, because they are conveniently iOS. So maybe any active project has a hidden, kind of interest tag that people can kind of get. I don't know how they'd get, but maybe when we create the project, we have the bot or something put in, and you can react, and we pin that message. But then when they do that, I can ping those people, or anyone who has an active project can kind of have followers to this, and then ping those people to get, eyes on a PR and that stuff instead of just doing whatever. So I don't know. What do you guys think? That's kind of my explanation to kind of hit on it.
I think we should have some way to identify who's on a project. Maybe that's in GitHub instead of Discord. But if we do fork the project into the OneLeif GitHub, you really have no way of knowing, unless you have a project board that people are attached to. So Discord may have to be the way that we go about it.
Yeah.
That's something that will probably warrant further discussion. Maybe we'll open it up to discussion within the whole Discord and see what people think.
Okay.
But for now, we will. Let's see if Tatsumaki, the bot that we have that we're using right now, has a capability for us to somehow when people, I would like to just be able to add a button in the channel for you to just be able to click. But the only other thing that would make sense is putting it in the interest channel like we have everything else. But as projects are added and taken away, we'll have to regenerate those messages that allow you to react to them. And that is definitely not the cleanest way, and there'll be definitely a lot of rework that's involved.
It's just the sad part about like Discord, it seems the solution is always to add another channel, like, new project channel where, we post them. It's like only, I guess we should use the whole thing of, I thought we could edit the channel and, we can kind of set it, but I've seen that Discord allows you to have notification or announcement channels that people can subscribe to. Oh. And people can actually subscribe to in other Discords. So an example of this is the Vapor one where they have news. Now this, follow to get this updates in your own server.
They just added that last update in Discord.
But if we could get that for active project, for quite a bit of channels to, kind of quit the annoyance of can I type in this channel?
Maybe we should branch out other active projects into their own Discord server and then have that follow just linked to one of our channels. That might be the cleanest way to go about it.
Okay. I think that, this will have to be a further discussion. But next topic is Rekindle algorithm or / kata.
That's a good one.
So that's a good one. And that's a great one for Advent or, 100 Days of Code. But clicking on this, we only have one message in it. And it happens to be me, but...
Whoa.
Nothing, not like, I made a whole thing about this or anything, but...
No, not like we really tried to get people into it or anything.
But, this isn't a whole, website that you can go to and log in and has things for it, but it's a simple thing where you pass in a JSON that outlines the squares and the X and Y, circles, lines, and triangles, and you kind of just example the code of what you want. Now this isn't exactly the code, this is just, fake stuff. This isn't exactly what it produces, but you can view the solution and see the output of that. But yeah, this was a whole thing of kind of, seeing other people's solutions that you can scroll and see. There'd be other ones if there's other things, but checking that out. But yeah, it's just kind of, trying to make and solve stuff either on Code Wars or Leak Code or any other thing like that, or even kind of giving someone a riddle and having solutions solve it. All you need for a kata is a description of the question and input and output. And if, the solution matches the input and output, then it should match. It's just the amount of tests that you have to actually check that they've solved it. So, if you've actually programmed a little kata on your own, you can make a little thing like how much bread do you want to buy versus how much, wheat or that stuff. It's 5 cents more. It's just a simple math problem, but, simple on its own. You have to use a computer to solve it, but whatever. But yeah, we really want to endorse this. So we've always had it, and I know we've had it before, of giving XP or points for solving katas or becoming at a certain level, or we had challenges at some point where we can give XP for kind of an added benefit.
Yeah, where did all those questions and answers go?
I think it went through the filtering of all of
moving channels.
Yeah, we've moved a lot of channels.
I think we had kata answers and kata questions, and both of those channels got moved.
Yep. So we used to have a lot more of the kata, and then it kind of got filtered out, I guess. But so I guess that's something that we'll start adding, kind of questions or quick things to, solve.
That's a good idea.
I don't know. If it gets popular, I think we should start adding points or rewards to it, kind of XP or something like that. But.
And then we can build up to our own hackathon.
Yeah, because then we could have a live kind of event too. Okay, so we got that's sweet do. What does that mean?
What does that mean?
Oh, that was supposed to be that sweet XP autocorrect. Oops.
Message.
Yeah. Oops.
So the last one is we need to update channel names, descriptions, and explanations and rules.
Like
so,
the descriptions up here, up at the top.
Yep, I've read a few of those have been off.
Some of them are a little out of date. So they moved a bunch of stuff.
We'll definitely update those when it comes to tomorrow.
When free time is in abundance.
Yeah, when we have that and I focus on that instead of open source or any contributions to get. But yeah, we'll get that done. So that's the last in direction. So then we have the streaming channel. And this was, yeah, okay. So I don't think we need to talk about this. I think we can talk about clean code.
Ooh.
If you want to talk about clean code, that's one of the topics that we have
for fun topics.
What came up in kind of the channels and what came in the discussions for career topic or career advice, or kind of how to just better yourself and what to think of code or how to get better at coding just in general, regardless of what language you pick. So for clean code, it's
read the book.
Yeah, read the book. We shared some PDFs.
Book club.
So we were talking about that. There's quite a bit of resources, but if you scroll up enough, you will see
it's there.
Clean code PDF.
Is this legal?
I don't know, but I found it on the internet.
Everything on the internet is legal?
If you have any legal discrepancies, please take down this site.
Investigate.
Or yell at us.
Then I will lose access to this, and thus you will save the internet. Other than that, yes, I do endorse buying this book.
127%. It is an amazing book.
I've always endorsed buying books because then you get the personal effect of adding your notes into the book, and also like a physical copy is kind of another thing. But this is a really good book and has a whole glossary of the rules that it declares, but it declares like quite a bit of rules of how to write good code or code smells and what defines bad code versus good code. And it really kind of draws a line, and I think it draws a line in the right aspect of that it is mostly right, but yeah, you'll have to read it to find out. I've definitely thought of code better after it, and it has definitely helped me, so I've always...
I believe it's written in Java, right? If I remember correctly.
Well, so there's also a
I think
book
so, yeah.
literally called, I feel like it's called Practical Java, but I'm totally missing out. But basically it has a bunch of items by this guy who wrote the book on like what's good Java practice, but you can totally take that and implement it in other like OOP languages. But it's like, it's actually pretty awesome for like just OOP practices and stuff. So like what me and my coworker would do is like we try and go through like one item a week or something, or pick a random item and like try to walk through it. But it's pretty good. I think Practical Java is in the name of the book at least. I forgot the exact name, but that's a really good one as well.
Yeah,
for clean code stuff.
The other one that I advised that was in the list of the books was
Effective Java. That's what it is.
here.
Sorry, not Practical Java. It's Effective Java.
Oh, is it not in here? Where do we share the books then? I totally forgot.
Effective Java.
Yeah. Alright, whatever. The Pragmatic Programmer.
Oh, that's a great one.
That one is definitely one to kind of
That's a great
learn
one.
programming and really get a better understanding of just general. Like
Some of their concepts, honestly, early on might be like prehistoric-ish, meaning like not prehistoric, but like just like some concepts. I feel like just because of open source technology, there's just so much you're aware of maybe in programming already. So like some of the starting chapters might be kind of maybe rudimentary and or just general knowledge, but it's a really nice book to get into over time.
Yeah.
Pragmatic Programmer.
I don't know where it is. 3-hour meetings. Whatever. Alright. So.
Clean code.
Yeah. Any final words on clean code? Definitely.
It depends on clean code, like what we're talking about. We're talking like if we're talking about architecture, that's one thing. If we're talking about like literal clean code, than like writing our code in a basic text editor and then running linked checks and or just letting the compiler check stuff is always nice.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
that's two
I
different
agree
things.
with that. But I think the big topic is not, well, of course that we advocate for clean code, but we also, advise people to check out clean code or clean code books where that you can get the better understanding of clean code. And I don't know, maybe after people read or get more interest in it, we can have a clean code / bad code, thing of like showing the difference. And also, maybe a refactor thing of like,
Oh, that'd be cool.
checking out, comparisons.
And I think clean code almost bleeds over into data structures, like design patterns and whatnot.
Yeah.
Because,
True.
like, removing extra arguments from your parameters is one thing, but making sure that you're passing in the right things rather than, if you pass in 40 arguments into your parameters versus passing in one data object that holds all those is like, it's just different design patterns that work well,
Yeah.
Oh, that is also there's literally a book called Design Patterns. I forgot the author, but like it has this really fun illustrative. Honestly, I think like 80% of the book is like illustrations, and like 20%.
Design Patterns by Gang of Four.
Might be that one.
It is an amazing book.
Is that the picture one? It has a lot of
Yep.
pictures, right? Yeah, amazing.
That
Easy to
one's
read.
intense. I wouldn't recommend that for like newbies.
You might want to learn a language first.
Possibly.
I'd recommend reading clean code and design patterns before you learn a language and after. Because,
Programmer and then design.
yeah. We'll have to chit chat about like a good flow.
I just bought someone Pragmatic Programmer for like a Christmas gift, and he's jumping into development and just brand new, so like I think that's like a great one out the gates. I don't know, like I'm just saying, like if someone doesn't know anything about that, like clean code, Pragmatic Programmer, and then right after that, Gang of Four.
Yep. I just
Design
think you
patterns,
should read
and
them
then
twice.
The other one.
Because when you read them the first time, you get like a grasp of like, okay, maybe this is what I should do. And then when you come back to it like a year or two later, you're like, this makes so much sense.
Yeah, just a quick example. It's like the whole thing of like, okay, clean code of how to write this language. But then when you write a framework, you're writing that framework. Are you writing it clean?
It's a whole different level of
You might
abstraction.
write the code of the framework clean, but like, is the interface clean? And that's a whole nother thing of
That's
like,
where it bleeds over into data structures.
Yeah.
And design patterns, yeah.
Alright, so yeah, we definitely advise clean code, Pragmatic Programmer, and any of the ones that got lost in the chat. We need a book club. So let's just talk about solving katas really quick. I think you had this one. Did you want to talk about it? Or
To solve a specific kata?
well, was this a specific kata, or this is just in the streaming topics?
In general, I'd like to see us solve one really small coding problem like every stream.
Okay.
I'd like to have us like sit down and like each of us code up a separate solution to it, and then we come to do it on stream.
Message Omar if he wants this.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what the delay in the stream is versus just messaging in chat. But if he picks a language, then we can go find one to work on or that stuff. But I think that's a good idea. I just think that I think we had this conversation of like someone should pick the language that we should.
Yeah. So a kata is just like a practice problem, and in the future we're gonna have a vote or a poll for you guys to say what language you should do it in each week. So this week we'll kind of gloss over it and then come back to it.
Yep. So really quickly, I'll just announce that I'll be on vacation for 2 weeks.
Goodbye, man.
I'll be back around.
The 6th?
Maybe a little bit before that. I don't know.
Hold on,
like
let me
the
check
third,
Oh,
third or
fuck
the
too much.
6th.
The 3rd is a Friday.
Yeah, so I'll be back around. I'll be back around the 3rd. But I don't know. I'll be pretty spotty for messages and that stuff. So don't count on me.
Harshav and I'll be here. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, they'll keep the fires down.
Don't worry. I'm level 27 in chat, man. I'm a
I
wizard.
can get to level 27 in chat.
Yeah,
for
what's
3 days.
your role on that for chatting?
What do you mean?
Oh, and like D&D, you get a plus modifier. Like, are you a +6 or something now with that 27, or does it just stop after 20?
-3
I don't
friendship.
know. man.
Minus
So
3
much.
friendship for
Chatting
just
too much,
how
like,
good
shut up.
chatting.
Dude,
you
it
are.
starts upping my charisma. At some
Shut
point.
up, man! Stop chatting so much. All right,
Are you my
Flutter.
boss?
Wait, are we,
Yeah.
not doing
Yeah.
are we not doing the Salvacado one?
Well, we're just waiting until the response.
We're gonna do a poll for actually like what language you should do it in.
Okay, I'll do that.
Unless you have a language that you just want to pick. V?
At the end of this, we can do a little kata. How about that?
No. All right. So Flutter. Flutter's pretty interesting, I'd say.
Oh, that's what you're gonna start.
But what's
That's
the
a great
recent topic?
start. That's a great start.
Yo,
Parshav.
Parshav brought it up. This is all you, Parshav.
Oh wait, I don't remember off the top of my head either. But yeah, there was a Flutter Insight event like last week, which I wanted to talk about last week, but I couldn't get into it. You might want to Google like the Flutter Insight updates.
Oh.
But basically, it was like this Flutter event that happened last week with their updates from this year and the stuff they worked on that they Insight, right? Insight somewhere. It's like Insight was the name.
The
of
changelog's not that good. Are you serious?
Well, I don't know if it is actually.
9 hours ago.
Yeah, this might be like daily, nightly changelogs.
What about this?
The major ones, you might want to go to the major ones that happened over.
Oh, is there major?
Well, that's where you search for the Insight.
Well, I don't know. I'm looking on here.
So search for Insight. Google.
Oh, you want me to actually look for that?
Yeah, Google like Flutter Insight updates. What happens?
That's cheating. Look, see, this is all that happens. But all right, we'll keep this up.
I'm actually curious. Oh my god, dude.
First one should be the right one, right?
Insights from Flutter's users per survey. It's not this one though.
How long have been using
This was back in April.
these people? Those people right there.
So, I mean, until we actually find it. So,
Where is it?
they had
Oh,
they had a couple cool updates from this year, basically. And honestly, like the two that I can remember off the top of my head was like they're making web go to beta, which is pretty awesome.
Awesome.
Currently, it is in alpha, so like not even alpha. Actually, it is in alpha. Like you have to target a different branch and whatnot. Right, like December or something.
huh?
Insight was like the name of the event, I believe. So you might want to write like Flutter Insight event or something, yeah. Or just go to the Flutter Dev subreddit. It's like a top post right now, I believe.
This is how you have to search for things in Swift, by the way.
Oh yeah, for sure, dude. Any language that's not like JavaScript, basically, you have to like write word for word, by the way.
Whoa, you ever tried Unity? There's a billion things
Got
out there.
it. Like, oof. Look at this. This is amazing.
Oh wow, dude, these are actually pretty awesome, by the way. Dang. Oh, so wow, this is kind of neat. Something cool that they mentioned there that I think was already leaked before as well is like the new, like Google Stadia came out, and the Stadia app is also developed in Flutter, by the way. So that was kind of nice to know that they're actually embracing it more so than usual. They have desktop and alpha-ish as well, or beta, I don't know, but they're pushing for desktop as well. So like they had, actually it might have been just Mac OS desktop for right now.
What operating system does Stadia run on?
Stadia is a cloud gaming.
Yeah, but like, do you play it on your phone or?
You can play. So the games are running on a Chrome browser for me. For
Okay.
now. I didn't.
So you can play it on anything.
Yeah, I only tried that for. I think you could try it on a Chrome browser or phone, maybe.
I wonder how it like manipulates input, like depending on what device you're on.
That's a good point. Like I think it knows if you're on a desktop or not. You can control. You can use the controller. So my buddy got like the controller original one for Stadia.
Yeah.
And he's been playing a couple games, no lag whatsoever. But he's not super heavy into like frame rates and stuff, like you would for a PC gamer if you're a full-on guy.
Yeah.
But if you want like simple, I don't know, like 40, 30, 40, 50.
I wonder why
FPS,
Stadia
it's
took
pretty
off
awesome.
and Nvidia Shield didn't.
Nvidia Shield, or was it? It was Nvidia Shield, right?
Mm-hmm.
No,
Dude, that's no. Shield was something
NVIDIA
else.
Go or
Nvidia Go.
Nvidia had
GeForce.
something.
GeForce.
G4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shield is like the Android TV thing, actually, of Nvidia. I feel like.
I just know Nvidia had something similar,
Like
and I'm assuming Stadia took off because they had more advertising.
GeForce, I felt was actually insane because it had much more games, dude. GeForce has a lot more games.
I had GeForce Beta on my Mac.
Same. That's where I tried it. Great stuff. The problem with Stadia right now is that it just has bare minimum games right now. Just maybe like a handful, I believe. Yeah.
Dude, you can't launch a platform like that without like being ready to go. You know.
I really wanted to kick off though, to be honest. Like, okay, that's NSFW, but okay. But I really want like cloud gaming to kick off. I think it's a great idea.
Because you don't have to drop like a couple $1,000s on a decent computer.
Well, I think it'll just like kind of revolutionize like other stuff as well that could be clouded, like just IDEs and stuff can be made more cloud. Like that'd be nice if I don't have to.
So this is a big thing going on in the government contracting world right now.
That's
You
good.
can't do a bid for the government right now without it being cloud based. They're literally moving like every one of their projects to the cloud.
Dude, didn't Microsoft like win one recently?
They literally I don't want to get political, but the president basically said we don't like Amazon, pick Microsoft. Microsoft got the deal. Amazon was butthurt about it.
Yeah, I heard that, and it's kind of weird because like when it's like a big company on Microsoft or Amazon.
Yeah, it was a big win.
And it was like AI or it was like VR actually. I think technology.
So Microsoft also separately won a $600 million contract for the HoloLens.
Damn.
So Microsoft has had some big wins with the government recently.
Okay, actually, the name of the event was Interact and not Insight.
Nicely done.
I believe. Yeah. So that's the name of the event. It has some really cool updates, by the way. We should totally check it out, by the way. I'm not lying, guys. It's pretty awesome.
Dude, this chicken tikka masala is bomb, by the way. It's super sweet.
Interact.
Oops.
Flute turn. There it is.
That reminds me of the little Mac
they have all
skin.
that's pretty awesome.
Oh, is this not made in Flutter?
I
Flutter.
know this would be made in Flutter. So like when I was running the alpha web thingy on my web browser, I saw it like kind of downloading ish the Dart project, and I don't know if that was gonna happen in every web project. So that'd be kind of shady. I know like web apps do that in like Angular and stuff at least. I wouldn't be a huge fan if they did that for that as well. But if browsers started integrating the engine in them, that'd be nice.
Or if you just visit one website and it caches it for all the other Dart websites.
That'd be nice as well, actually, not gonna lie. But yeah, it's pretty nice. Like the way that you could make a website and the mobile components or even desktop, I haven't tried desktop yet. It was actually like a single base and whatnot. It handled it really well. Like I think the true way that it should have been done for if you had to say cross-platform stuff, you know what I mean? Ish in a way. Yeah, but yeah, for creating UIs and stuff, they're actually awesome, and they had this person who was an artist guy say like he was able to like create these abstract kind of art thing from learning a little bit of code and whatnot. So like you'd say like in 5 to 6 minutes, maybe like 50 to 60 lines, he could create like cool abstract art in Flutter because he actually understood the UI pretty well and whatnot. So he could actually create these cool designs and whatnot. Like designs, I mean like art in a way, which I thought was that's some next level stuff if you think about it, dude. Like just programming the art yourself.
Dude, I was thinking about that today, and like, what if I wanted to implement art in a way that's like, I don't know, like a guy that's just like a blob of goop, you know, and he's just like walking down the street.
Yeah.
How do I procedurally generate that, or how do I put that into mathematics? The only thing I could think of is using NVIDIA Physics or PhysX, whatever the engine is called for like liquid motion.
Yeah.
But without that, like,
then otherwise you're
like applying force to a liquid, basically.
Otherwise, you're like creating your own like engine at that point.
Exactly.
To have that happen.
Or like I don't know, like having like a invisible ink type thing, where like when it dries it disappears, or like a timer. Like those things just seem.
Oh wow, that's
beyond difficult.
That reminds me, by the way, I just saw this like last maybe 20 minutes at work. Was that apparently ray tracing is an issue on phones?
Yep.
And like Huawei came up with a concept with another company for like ray tracing on a game, and they have this trailer out where they do like before and after, and it's just simple ray tracing stuff, but like the differences are so like insane. Like
it's like night and day, isn't it?
Yeah, because like they were just talking about like here's the game on the phone, and you're probably used to seeing this, and it's like some lady walking on the ground or something, and they say like with ray tracing still on the phone, and then you can see the reflections of the ground and whatnot because they're inside in lights, and I'm like, whoa, dude, that's pretty insane now.
And it's kind of hard to notice, like, I don't know, for example, like when you're first trying to like draw, like you know, with like a pencil or something, like drawing like an eye or something like, with like the reflections, like you're like, oh, I did great, and then you look at like something that's like photorealistic, and you're like, oh, I messed up massively. So like we're used to video games that are like, they have like some reflections, but they don't like bounce light off other things.
Yeah, that's true.
Like in Red Dead Redemption, you can look at a squirrel's eyes and it reflects the whole world behind you.
That's insane.
Like that level of detail is not something that we're used to. So like our perception is not there yet. Whereas like as soon as you see the change, you're like, oh, I've been looking at this wrong the whole time.
That's insane to think. They also had like a shadows example, which is pretty nice. So like just light going through like a railing, and then like in normal mobile games you would see like railings as like the solid shadow, but then with ray tracing the shadow is like, you know, darker in the center and then like faded outside stuff. Looked amazing, by the way. So like that kind of concept, by the way, pretty neat. They could bring more of those stuff.
The funny part is without seeing a real life example though, you wouldn't think about that.
Yeah, so that graphics card that I have is real-time ray tracing.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he has the RTX.
Oh, of course. I mean, like,
2070.
this is on a PC.
Yeah, so that's the concept that I can't get behind. Is like
how they did it on the phone.
Well, it's like if you can, is it on the phone? Like, you know what I mean? Or like what
or was it cloud rendered and then sent to you?
I know real-time ray tracing kind of just means that they offload and kind of specifically have some hardware for it, and it doesn't mean that you can't do it, but
ray
it just
tracing
means
is an expensive calculation.
That's what. Yeah, that's exactly what they were saying, and they were
Yes.
like, so like that's why the demo was so big of a thing.
Yeah,
You know, they were like, it's happening, kind of.
so if they can do it, then other people can do it. So then
They probably just added specific hardware into the graphics card.
Okay,
Or, like, I can't imagine they found some, like, beautiful algorithm to do it so cheap that you can do it with current hardware.
So yeah, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess we both know kind of metal at this point. Is like there anything like that or
You could do shaders to, like, help you predict lighting and whatnot, but, like,
Mhm.
you're, like, ray tracing is not a thing that you can work around. Like,
Yes.
it is what it is. You have to deal with that
only,
hardware.
two or two ways where it goes from the camera or to the camera, right? Or
Yeah.
So and those are equally expensive. So I don't know.
Like,
we'd have to probably
the only
look
thing I could
into
think
more
of
of
that
how
would
they
be
did it.
similar would be, like, ambient occlusion.
Yeah, and
Ambient occlusion basically takes the angle. So, like, let's imagine you're visualizing a box on the ground, right? Well, the corners of the box, like at the bottom, would be darker, right? Just because of the angles of the box. I'm assuming there are some similar extrapolations that you can have with ray tracing that are just inherent properties to it that you could fake ray tracing being happening, but you can't fake it to the degree that it's photorealistic. Like, okay, so something I learned about Blender. So, like, you know how like, they take like days to render things, or like Pixar and DreamWorks take like weeks and just these giant computer farms to render a movie. Well, the reason is because if you want to take something from a video game that does everything in real time to literally photorealistic, the difference, like, to us seems minimal, but like to calculations is absolutely massive. Whereas, like, in video games, you just try and fake everything, make it look like it's realistic. But in Blender or in whatever
in movies and stuff?
in whatever like render, like actual render you're using.
Well, yeah, I heard like
and that's why the cutscenes always look better because they're baked.
Because they're actually rendered out.
Yeah, and they're rendered and.
Yeah, I saw a video about the like people talking about the Lego movie animation and stuff and how like. I honestly, for a while, like in the starting, I did believe like it was stop motion, just of how great it looked, until they were like, yeah, it's completely animated. I'm like, none of it is actually real. And they're like, no, it's all animated, 100%. They did some weird stuff with the engine. It's insane. Lego movie, guys. It's a good movie as well.
I think we looked at this a couple streams ago.
Oh, is it a dude?
It's the Pixar.
Yeah.
They show you the form for rendering their movie Inside Out.
Yeah.
They give you a number estimate for how long it took. They paired with some university.
Down.
Okay, so this is going from like the mesh to like adding in color, adding in lighting, adding in animations and whatnot.
This is awesome.
Anyways, there we go. Services, sets and cameras, rendering. There we go. Was I on the rendering page? I think I was.
I think I saw a number.
Each frame takes 33 hours to render.
Yeah.
Is that not insane?
So, dude, how do they do that? Well, I mean,
because they have these giant farms. They just have a giant cluster.
Well, yeah, movies are around 30, 32 frames or that stuff, or like 24 to like 24 to 40 at the max. I don't think it's 40
frames per second.
Yeah.
Oh,
versus games are like 60 and like above. Like you want that. Movies are
even if it's on like whatever highest quality that you get on the theater and whatnot.
That's at least what I was like.
I bet the files that they store have to be massive.
So the new Mac Pro that came out has the display have the different refresh rates that you can set it to, like specifically 30.
Oh, that's why it was so talked about.
So 24.
Since 1927. The standard frame rate for film.
So yeah,
but that's a standard.
48.
Wow.
48 would be like the max, I guess. But
so if you guys want to bring this into video gaming, I actually watched a really good video on this from Linus Tech Tips today. He brought in Shroud, like the guy who plays games, Shroud. He brought in Corey from like Overwatch Pro Gaming, and like a couple other guys. And he basically compared 60 hertz versus 120 hertz versus 244 hertz, and then like what different frame FPSs you have. Well, if you have 60 FPS and 60 hertz refresh, it is massively different than 300 FPS and 60 hertz. Because what happens is the monitor is refreshing every 1/60th of a second no matter what. But what it refreshes with depends on what your graphics card sends. So the information that you have at this current frame is newer if you have a faster graphics card. Which makes a massive difference.
Dude, that makes total sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually insane.
So the jump from 60 to 120 hertz of your monitor refresh rate actually is pretty good. Like it actually does make a noticeable difference, like statistically in your gameplay. From 120 to 244, it depends on the person. It can actually make you worse, but like even if you have 120 hertz of a refresh rate, if you have a graphics card that can't support the correct frame rate, it's going to be like just as bad, if not worse, than if you're running at 60 hertz. Because like screen tearing, not sending if you're trying to refresh 120 times, well, like 3 of those frames may be refreshing with the same thing. So like let's imagine you're playing Smash. Well, some of the moves only last 3 frames.
And if that gets refreshed,
yeah, exactly. So it refreshes and it like skips over that entire animation.
Yeah. So yeah, that's actually pretty interesting. Mike,
so yeah,
what are you gonna say?
What framework do you play for CS:GO?
What framework?
Frame rate.
Oh, frame rate. I play at 120.
Angular.
So I play at 120 hertz and about
rate?
400, 500 FPS.
120 hertz?
Yeah, 120 hertz.
And then 400?
400 to 500
so
FPS.
So you're just talking about the 300. So is it good to go double and past that? Like, what's the limit?
The limit that Linus Tech Tips did 120 hertz with 300 FPS.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And that was about the best case. Like, and then once I went up 244 hertz at 300 FPS, like it didn't make that much of a difference.
But damn, well, I mean, your monitor stays the same, so change the frame rate instead of the refresh rate. So, what's 400 versus 300?
Minute difference.
It's
the ratio from your frame rate to your refresh rate.
But why is it 300 versus 60?
It just refreshes 5 times faster. So whenever you pull a frame, you have like a 5 times quicker refresh. Whereas if I'm doing a horrible job at explaining this.
I guess this whole thing is like it doesn't really matter, and like just buy a better monitor is the whole kind of thing.
Get a 120 hertz monitor and make sure you have a graphics card that can give you at least 120 FPS.
Well, is there like a safe ratio to play by either of them?
Well, no, it's literally just showing off at that point is what you're explaining. Is if you go above what the monitor is, so if you get 120 and you do 120 frames per second, or if you get 60 and do 60 frames per second, you're fine. The only reason to go above is to make sure you have buffer room when you have any potential screen tearing or anything like that.
If you do 60 hertz refresh rate on your monitor and 60 hertz refresh rate on your monitor with 300 FPS, it will make a significant measurable distance in your screen tear and ability to flick, to respond, to reaction time. Like your reaction time obviously won't change, but let's say you're looking.
Which one's better though?
Because the 300 FPS. The higher the FPS, the better.
Oh, okay. So
but at a certain point, it obviously plateaus.
Oh, okay.
What that number is, I don't have a number for you.
So what's the difference between 2 times versus 300? What 300 is arbitrary versus
it was arbitrary just because that's what the graphics card ran at.
So if I ran it at about 40 FPS above, so 100 FPS, it would be the exact same as the 300 or that stuff. Just because
it would close the gap much quicker than 1 FPS over.
So if I could run CS:GO at 3,000 FPS per second,
it wouldn't make much of a difference from 300. Yeah, you're right.
But is that better or worse at that point?
Well, you also
because
have to,
you just said the smash moves are like 3 frames. So then I guess the Switch is not an argument because
it runs at a locked frame rate.
Well, depending on what you're playing on, I think 60 FPS or.
I highly doubt the Switch can output higher. Because when we were playing Rocket League,
30 FPS to 1080. So I think it's always 30 FPS. But so for that, then I mean, does that even matter at that point? Of you're just doing more frames?
I think the only time it matters is let's say you're playing CS:GO and you have a 64 tick server versus a 128 tick server. Mm-hmm. If your refresh rate is faster than the server's tick rate, then it can throw you off. Like, the interpolation between where you were and where you should be, like, if you move really quickly, like, look 90 degrees and move the other way, it could be off.
So then, like, does the server handle that? Or, like, is that just not...
It depends on the type of game. Most games are server authoritative, where they,
So, like,
they say, this is where you are. If you shoot, you'll send me where you're looking, where you are, and I will tell you whether or not you hit, regardless of your frame rate.
Okay.
Your frame rate can just help you, as a player, know when to feel to hit the mouse button.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyways, sorry. That was a very deep dive into a topic that we didn't even try to go into.
That was kind of neat, by the way, yeah.
I mean, we can keep going. I guess this is kind of our fun topic for the night, because we're already almost done. We're almost at an hour.
Hey, by the way, Flutter promises 60 FPS.
Does it really?
Apparently it does.
See,
Like, locked? Like, no matter what?
They say, like, that's their thing. You could keep on adding widgets and stuff to slow it down, but then you could even write tests in a way that say a certain, like, 60 FPS still frame rate and stuff. So that's, like, their kind of thing is, like, yeah, we try and guarantee 60 FPS.
I guarantee I could break that. Let me just spawn a billion cubes and just keep going.
100%.
yeah. I think the interesting part is like Path of Exile has like 60 FPS locked, but it will
that's true.
it will blur and remove shaders and that stuff as needed.
They update the level of detail.
Yeah.
Most games do. Also, fun fact. I looked this up last night.
I bet.
Path of Exile, as far as I'm aware, has the largest skill tree of any game.
Oh, that big chart thingy?
Yeah, the only game I could compare to it was Clicker Heroes 2, and it had about 700 upgrades.
Oh, okay.
Path of Exile had 1,000.
Wow.
See,
Is that not insane, though? Like,
no, Path
even
of
if it's not the most, it's still an insane amount.
It's quite a bit, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Let's look it up. Let's look at the tree.
Hey, Path of Exile 2, though.
So, I've looked at the tree.
Skill chart.
The other,
tree's good.
the other one is what'd you say?
Clicker Heroes 2. Clicker Heroes 2. Clicker Heroes 1 is small. And then just type in tree or something, I don't know. Skill tree, yeah, there you go.
And then one that I know is like not as big as probably either
Albion?
Albion.
ION. Online?
Skill tree. I can't
Close enough. Google will figure it out.
I can't. My whole test.
Oh, wow,
is
that's pretty big, dude.
yeah, so Path of Exile, of course.
Path of Exile is just
huge.
insane, man. It is insane.
Yep.
Dude, that's a little too much to process.
It's literally Diablo 3, but you can just keep going and going and going.
So this is Path of Exile, and you start as one of, I think these. Yeah, you start right here, and so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
6 classes,
7.
How did they come up with this?
There's a balanced one.
Dude, how do you come up with this?
So then we have.
You just start like generating fractals until something makes sense, right?
That's just too much. It's just
Oh,
too much.
wow.
Look at this one as well. This is
Yeah, Clicker Heroes is pretty
this
massive as
one?
well.
Yeah. So that one's pretty big.
It takes a while.
Oop.
And I honestly didn't like it as much as Clicker Heroes 1, but whatever.
So the Albion one is not as big as both of those, but
Whoa, that is cool.
oops.
It's still pretty complex.
It is still fairly large.
Is there I swear, since it's sponsored, like, you know, by yeah. No.
They all have small pictures of it, like,
I
this
know,
is how
I
it
know.
starts.
It's
not,
like
here's the massive
how do
thing.
you show off the whole thing? Destiny board wiki.
It's so big they can't even show it.
I know. I didn't actually think it was this big, but it's actually like kind of large. I guess it's called Destiny board. Wow. There's like a 1080 picture of it. It's not even big enough. Yeah, so it's huge. So I'll try to explain it really quick because it might make more sense. So each one of these, you kind of expand out. You start right here. You get crafting. You get, kind of attack. You get foraging, and you get like farming, and then you get like achievements down, up and down. So crafting, this guy has sword crafting. This is bow crafting, staff crafting, and then this is construction of like materials. So this is turning wood into stuff that you can craft with, and then this is something else.
Like harvesting?
Yeah.
It's like a cycle.
Yeah, I think that's harvesting, and then yeah.
I like how it looks like a loom.
Yeah,
Like,
that was actually the cool part.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so then the attack, you can either go attack like sword, bow, or staff, and then it expands into like what kind of specific one you want. So this one might be fire, and this one might be arcane.
So as cool as it looks, this to me spells out like reusable code was not a thing in their mind. Because it looks like the trees, like melee, archery, and magic kind of spread out to the same, like, node size, I guess?
Yeah.
Which they could have, like, cut down into a tree with different tabs. But I guess it fits their artistic style.
Well, no, you can become all the same ones. So
okay.
you could do... It's really weird because I haven't played too much, but you could, like, be all of them. But then, yeah, you like... It's weird.
This is just insane.
Well, they have a build guide?
Also, pull up the Path of Exile. What is this even? Actually, how do you come up with... I'm very curious. That's like something that's... I mean, that's in games in general, right? Like, how do you come up with itemization and, like, leveling and that kind of... Those numbers?
You have something that strikes you and you run with it?
Those numbers,
is it easier to make a list of, like, what all of the stuff should entail? Like, hey, what... from level 0 to level 100, what maybe upgrades, and then split them out, and then... Because, like, this, like... 1, 2 is pointless, right? Like, you shouldn't think of like, okay, their first option should be between 2 things, or 3 things. Like, you think of like, hey, do they get plus in health or do they get plus in attack? What's their most?
But then, like, it's the balancing aspect as well, right? Like,
yeah.
How much plus of
you
attack
can't go all in one thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, so that all that detail in each one, then it's like.
Dude, we should have added Jake to the call. He's literally playing Path of Exile right now. I'm calling it.
Well, yeah, we played, and we played the middle one, the Siren.
Oh, yeah.
And we were playing the hardcore one, and I died when I looked away once, and I told you, he never forgave me.
That's right.
I gotta go give this a try. I haven't played it in forever. I literally played it for like 20 minutes.
It's a great game if you're into those type of games. Like, I love the artwork and stuff, but when it comes to like a grinding game,
it's just so it's literally Diablo. Like, it's a loot whore.
Yeah. But it's great visually, and like the story was awesome.
There's another game that I just got recently. I forget the name, but I think it's like Grim something.
Grimworld?
Grimwell? Is that like another Diablo clone?
Look it up.
Can you pull up a list of Diablo clones?
Yeah.
I have it. So,
I don't want to say Diablo clone because I feel like there was a game that wasn't Diablo that was Diablo before Diablo.
Wow.
Yeah, wording. Trust.
Age of Empires.
Grim
4.
Dawn.
Oh, yeah. I heard
So
you
this game, I haven't played it too much, but I tried it a bit,
Well, I like the graphics.
is very similar to
Diablo.
and here's the skill.
Oh, wow.
Kind of skill tree, or that stuff. So, yeah, definitely
Give it a look.
overwhelmingly positive. I've only had 1 hour's played, but it's a single player one and it has full controller support. So, I mean, definitely check it out if you're an RPG fanatic. Let's check chat really quick.
I've never
Is
watched...
Star Wars any good? How do you answer that without being like a dick? Yes. Oh, goodness. Please give him a good one.
That one.
Yeah.
Rip your soul, man. You're gonna get roasted.
It's out tonight, right, or something?
The new Star Wars?
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah. Dude, one of the guys at my work has every comic of Star Wars from 1977. And he built a database online for him to be able to check when he goes to like a comic book store. So that way, like, he knows if he has it or not, and he can just like pull it up on his phone.
Wait. That's just weird.
That's so cool!
What do you
It's
mean?
nerdy as hell, but I love
What
it.
kind of database did he use?
How many does he have, though, as well?
I don't even remember.
Did he use Postgres?
No, dude, he uses as CSV. CSV.
He said he was using WSGI, which is a Java backend.
Well, how many? Do you know how many he has? Like, approximately?
Look up how many Marvel comics have been made since
That's
1977.
insane.
Alright.
Or Star Wars.
Omar
sorry.
wants to join the chat.
Yeah, we're only 30 minutes late to inviting him.
High and by.
I'm sorry.
I didn't see the message either. It's okay.
I don't get a pink. Hello, Omar.
Hello, Leaf. What up? What's up?
Hey, what's up? You're with Sabian and Parshav too.
Yeah, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing fine.
I think we're kind of winding down on the stream. We've hit the majority of the topics.
Anything you want to talk about, man?
Yeah, I was asked in stream, of course, but okay. Are the stream finished?
What'd you say?
The stream finished.
No, we got a few more topics to talk about, so we're just kind of finishing up as Sabian said, but it's kind of just winding down. We don't have the much core topics. It's just kind of like going through PRs and other open source stuff, but then just community updates. So we're open to talk about anything, really.
Okay. I was asking. Just with this. Wait.
The burp in my
The one smallest burp. So, let me just cover the rest of the stream stuff super quick. So for community updates, in general, we had a bunch of new channels and some renamed channels. We will update the descriptions and rules to reflect that. Topics for next week will be how to fork a GitHub repo and make a pull request and then update the board so that way you can contribute to an open source project. And then, okay, channel updates, kind of a subtopic of community updates. But yeah, that is the majority of it. If you want to go look at the channel updates, I think I put it in general. Yeah. New channels! If you want career advice, go to career advice. I shouldn't have clicked on it. Potential jobs. We're gonna post like job openings that we find that we're confident that would be a good opportunity. A new active project, Bunny Hop, for those that didn't see last week's stream. We have a new multi-language channel. We have a mix of binary, ASCII, and base 64 encoder.
That's hex.
Hex. Oh, no. Look how good I am at detecting.
No one replied to it. So
yeah, Max was just like, nah. I'm
gonna stick to the binary, man.
And we got Japanese and a food channel that.
That is magic.
Dumplings. It's a P, not a B.
It doesn't
Close
matter.
enough. Close enough. Giphy.
The whole
can correct
challenge
you.
is to spell it incorrectly and still get it right.
I thought it was gonna go full 3D spin.
Oh, that'd be cool. All right, so I guess that's the end of the topics. So then, yeah, Omar, if you have...
I can go eat my food.
Oh, he's gonna go eat. So, what's up, man?
That tree though. Damn.
I was going to ask about what is the best way to implement a website inside a game.
A website inside a game. So you mean more? I guess the whole thing is you're not going to implement a website inside of a game, or unless you want the game to run a server. Those are two different topics. If you want a website inside of a game, like the oneleif website or YouTube, you'd use like a web view, or you'd like kind of present a
Implement the
HTML.
browser.
Yeah.
So I made a browser and implemented it in the game, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nothing else. I don't have any.
No, go on. Sorry.
I don't have any questions right now, sadly.
Me what?
And what was that? So for the website, do you like what kind of website would you want in your game or anything like that?
Actually, I'm working on open world game.
Okay.
So we have like internet cafe.
Okay.
You can go in and work in your computer like in real life, and you have sort of internet connection or stuff like that.
Okay. Well, I don't know how to specifically implement it in a game. Sabian could maybe talk on that for like Unity specifically, but for like iOS, we just have like a web view, and I would just go to like google.com and then they could search something and then kind of browse from there. But really, yeah, you just want to present in that kind of 3D world or whatever, maybe you put them in a kind of forced view where they view the web page, but I'll let Sabian take off from that.
Basically, you take some form of 2D plane, and there are plugins out there for you to be able to basically put a browser on that 2D plane. So just like how when you look at a web browser like Google Chrome or Internet Explorer, it's just a 2D interface for you interacting with it, and that can be placed in a 3D world based on projections. I can send you references to some plugins that would do it for you.
Can you put it in the resources channel?
Yeah, give me just a second.
Also, one more question.
Yeah, what's that?
Actually, if I want to build like to Mac or iOS,
What about building to them?
I'm working in Windows 7.
Sadly, you need a Mac to be able to build to them.
Tell him if he sends me the project I can build from.
Yeah, if you send us the project, we can build it for you.
Who I'm send it to?
Zach?
Okay. Yeah, I'll send it.
Yeah, I can build it. Honestly, you just need Mac because of Xcode, because Unity uses Xcode or builds to Xcode, and then you can deploy that Xcode project, and it just runs on a Mac or an iOS.
If you have a GitHub repo, just send the repo to Zach, and he can easily build it.
Yeah, and I'll just give you that built file, and that's really all I need. So.
Okay. I'll send it tomorrow, maybe.
He will be going on vacation soon, so he may not get to it right away.
I got this weekend.
Perfect. I think that's it for the end of the stream topics, though, so I'm going to go ahead and end the stream, Zach.
Okay.